Welcome to the Betting Above the Rim podcast. Today's date, May 16th, episode 53. In today's podcast, we'll get into three topics. Number one, the Celtics eliminate the Cavs in 5 games, 4 games to 1. We'll take some time to recap really what was a crazy season in Cleveland and what we expect to come in the offseason. Next, we preview Friday's big game between New York, Indiana, and New York with a 3-2 series lead. We'll see if the Knicks can close out the Pacers or the Pacers can force a Game 7 in New York City on Sunday. Lastly, we'll look at Caitlin Clark. She had her debut a couple of nights ago, scoring 20 points against the Connecticut Sun. I know she's playing against the Liberty on Thursday night. We'll get into what I think you should be looking at, how to bet Caitlin Clark, and my overall thoughts on Caitlin Clark, and probably rookies as a whole in the WNBA. And let's get started first with the Celtics, who finished off the Cleveland Cavaliers in a 113-98 win at the TD Bank Garden. Obviously, Jason Tatum getting nearly a triple-double with 25, 10, and 9. Al Horford, 22 and 15. Derek White kind of dusting it off with 18 and 5. But I want to spend time really talking about the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Cleveland Cavaliers team that last year really got punked by the New York Knicks, losing in 5 games. A Cleveland Cavaliers team that really, instead of going all in, decided that their moves that they were going to make were bringing in Max Strus and Georges Niang to more fortify their depth and not really try and throw a knockout punch in regards to getting another big-time player. A Cleveland Cavs team that stayed quiet at the trade deadline. But also, folks, a Cleveland Cavaliers team that could have been in the 2 or 3 seed in the East on the last day of the regular season, punted, borderline tanked, to get a favorable matchup. Ready, folks? In the first round of the playoffs, which they had to go to 7 games versus Orlando, to then end up playing Boston in the second round and getting run out of town and losing 4 games to 1. And when you start talking about Cleveland, you got to start talking about JB Bickerstaff. I said it before that I thought JB Bickerstaff was in trouble. I thought he was in trouble before the season ended. For a team that really never took that next step, a team that went and got a Donovan Mitchell, a team that was supposed to think that they were supposed to compete. Remember, folks, they had a great start, I would say 3 seasons ago, then flamed out, didn't make made the play-in, did not get into, obviously, the playoffs. Then you look at last year, that 4-1 loss, and then winning against Orlando, inexperienced, but needing 7 games to get it done, and then finally going against Boston. And here's the thing I want people to understand, okay? This is very important. When the season was on the line, Jared Allen, who was hurt, did not take a shot to play. Donovan Mitchell, with the season on the line, missed the last 2 games of the series. The season on the line, the Karis LeVert did not play in Game 5. So when people sit here talking about, oh, we don't like playing for Tibbs. Tibbs plays this guy too many minutes. You see Tibbs guys show up? You see the next during the season? You saw Julius Randle, who should have got surgery 4 months ago or 3 months ago when he got hurt, trying to play through it for Tibbs. Did you see Josh Hart playing 48 minutes every night for the New York Knicks, never complaining? You see Jalen Brunson busting his you-know-what to play. You see Mitchell Robinson, who got hurt, probably came back too soon, got hurt again. Do you see these things happening with New York? So don't sit here and tell me people don't like Tibbs. People don't like JB Bickerstaff. It's plain and simple. When they had a chance, folks, it was 1-1. 1-1. You lose Game 3, it's 2-1, and the Donovan Mitchell can't play the last 2 games. You mean to tell me if Donovan Mitchell was playing with the Lakers and LeBron, he wouldn't have suited up? You mean to tell me if Donovan Mitchell was playing for Tom Thibodeau, he would have found a way to suit up? You want to tell me that Jared Allen says, listen, folks, their coaches lose respect in the locker room when the players take over it. JB Bickerstaff did not have control of that locker room. Those guys not playing or not even trying to play. Now, maybe I'm saying that they could have gone out. I mean, listen, maybe they couldn't have. I'm just saying personally, just thinking about it, you're in street clothes, especially Jared Allen, and there are rumors that you had to take a shot and you didn't want to do it, man, that tells you what you need to know about that Cleveland Cavalier franchise and particularly some of those players. And let's get to the players because I think when you look at it, there's 3 steps to this process. Number 1, JB Bickerstaff is going to get fired. There's no way around it, okay? Number 2, now this is where the fun begins. Garland or Mitchell? Because you can't have both. I have said this on this podcast and on this network that I don't think 2 small guards that need the ball in their hands can work in this modern day NBA. So you got a choice between Donovan Mitchell and Darius Garland. Who are you going to pick? Now, it's very simple, folks. Donovan Mitchell is eligible to sign an extension this offseason, right? Next year is the last year of his deal. Donovan Mitchell basically controls all the cards in Cleveland right now. If Donovan Mitchell comes out and says, this is where I want to be in Cleveland, he's going to sign the extension, and then the next step is going to be, and Darius Garland already said it through Clutch Sports, if Mitchell stays, Rich Paul and Clutch Sports are going to start to seek a trade for Darius Garland. If obviously Donovan Mitchell decides he's not going to sign the extension, expect Donovan Mitchell to get traded, Darius Garland stays. One of those 2 has to work because 2 small guards like that at 6'1" do not win in the NBA. And that leads me really quick to New York with this. Because obviously the talk has always been Donovan Mitchell, a longtime Knicks fan from the New York City area. He wants to go home and play at the Garden. Folks, I'm going to say this right now, and I'm a Knicks fan. That ain't going to work. It's not going to work. I know the star power. I know how great Spider is. If this was a year ago or 18 months ago, would I want him? Yes. But because of the way Brunson has taken over this team, and this is Jalen Brunson's team, I have a real problem with that with Donovan Mitchell, unless the Knicks go get a 3-and-D with Devin OG Anunoby, and they get a really good another 3-and-D guy that can play the power forward that's interchangeable with OG to have 2 defensive stoppers at the 3 and 4 that you can move over and play sometimes versus bigger guards. I don't think that happens. It's not a fit. So to me, watch Donovan Mitchell. He'll control who stays and who goes. That leads me to the bigs. Jared Allen, Evan Mobley. Lord have mercy, I have gone back and forth. At the beginning, I said, you got to keep Mobley. Get rid of Jared Allen. Then I saw Jared Allen, the way he played against Orlando. And Evan Mobley didn't do great besides game 1. So I went over to say, keep Allen, trade Mobley. But the injury in which this guy sat out of game 7, and then to sit out all 5 games of the Celtics series, God damn it, get rid of Jared Allen. Just get rid of him. Go look at the 25 points that Evan Mobley put up in the second half and tell me that he can't be the center. You don't understand this, folks. Does Evan Mobley need to put on weight? Absolutely. He's not a physical big. But he's got shot blocking presence, and I think there's more to his game that can build upon than Jared Allen. Jared Allen is what Jared Allen is. And if you can move him, there will be suitors for a guy like Jared Allen as a big that's a double-double machine. I don't think he makes your team marketably better, but if I'm Cleveland and I have a choice between Jared Allen and Evan Mobley, I am moving Jared Allen. I'm sliding Evan Mobley to the center position, and I can see if I can get myself a little bit of a better forward to play alongside him. Georges Niang, although he had a good game last night for Cleveland, that is not the answer. So really quick, JB Bickerstaff should be let go. Go get a new coach, start over. Or go get a guy like that I've always talked about, should getting another chance to coach in the NBA, and a Kenny Atkinson, right? Turn around, figure out between Spider or Garland who stays, who goes. Obviously, Donovan Mitchell kind of controls the narrative there. And then I would trade Jared Allen, keep Evan Mobley, and then I would try and retool that roster because there is talent there in Cleveland. They're just not in that upper echelon of the Eastern Conference. Speaking of the Eastern Conference, let's move to the other side of the bracket where New York Knicks are going to be heading to Indiana for game number 6 versus the Pacers. Line right now, Pacers minus 5.5 points, over under 215.5. And it was really telling what you saw out of New York in game number 5. A game number 5, which they got 15 rebounds for Isaiah Hartenstein, 12 offensive rebounds. A game that you got 44 points out of Jalen Brunson. A game that, let's be honest, New York came out and they punched Indiana straight in the face. And the crazy thing was Indiana was up 16-9 in the first quarter until Rick Carlisle decided to take out some of his starters and bring in Toppin and bring in TJ McConnell because it worked every game. And it worked this game. New York got the matchup they wanted. So here's what you're looking for from me quickly. Number one, Jalen Brunson. It was a really good article in the New York Post about the motivation of this guy. When he lost a state championship in high school, his screenshot on his phone was his dejected face of that year as motivation. He went and won a state championship. And supposedly, his Game 6 performance against Miami, particularly his turnover late, is fueling Jalen Brunson. This guy is proven to be better than what anybody had imagined in New York, me included, and he has really personified this Knicks team of grit and toughness. So what you'll see out of New York is if they put Aaron Naismith on him, you will continue to see Brunson being used in multiple screening angles to be able to get switches to get someone on him like a Tyrese Halliburton. And that leads me to the second part is, will Indiana toughen up? Will they battle on the boards? So you got to understand this, folks. The New York Knicks is doing it without the best offensive rebound in the NBA in Mitchell Robinson. A guy that gets 10 rebounds a night in, obviously, Julius Randle. Arguably their fourth best rebounder, or fifth best rebounder, really good rebounding 3-and-D guy, and OG Anunoby. They're beating you with toughness and with heart, and particularly Josh Hart and Isaiah Hartenstein. Those two are dominating Indiana. And when you got Miles Turner, when you got Pascal Siakam, when you got Jackson, when you got Toppin, you got more athletic guys. But they got to be tougher. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I have been saying the Knicks in 6 for a while. I know I went down on the Knicks after they got blown out, but that blowout in game number 4 was the best thing that happened to them. They rested their players, and they got pissed off. And they were pissed off in game number 5. Let's see how Indiana responds. It was interesting to me. The last thing about this game is when you looked at the Knicks coming off the floor after game 5, there was no celebration. It was very businesslike. It was very calm. A little bit different than the showboating and celebration of Indiana. I wonder if Indiana took notice of it. I think New York is not going to try and wait for game 7. I think they try to go for the knockout punch. I expect a hell of a game. It's going to be very simple, folks. I'm taking the Knicks plus the points because if the game is close, they're going to find a way to win it. I don't trust Indiana to get stops. And Tyrese Halliburton, will the real Tyrese Halliburton please stand up? Because Tyrese, I'm saying this to you, my man, and I'm a Knicks fan. I love your game. I want the Knicks to take you out of Iowa State before they went and drafted Obi Toppin. But I got to say this to you, my dude. When you ball out, you are a problem. You're a problem. The problem is in the playoffs, you can't select when you ball out. You must bring it every single time. If Halliburton balls out, Knicks are in trouble. If he takes games and it takes plays off and quarters off, Knicks find a way to steal it. Let's end today's podcast with Caitlin Clark. Folks, oh my goodness. Caitlin Clark's first game with the Indiana Fever outdrew the NHL playoffs. Caitlin Clark's first game in the WNBA was the most watched WNBA game since Memorial Day of 2001. Caitlin Clark, who scored 20 points, 5 of 15 from the floor, 4 of 11 from 3, but the one thing you want to look at is under steals. It says, yo, and it should be turnovers, but yo is right. 10 turnovers for Caitlin Clark in her debut. Listen, I want people to understand something. Caitlin Clark is going to be really, really great in this league. We must temper our expectations of what we expect out of Caitlin in year number 1. Why do you ask? Very simple, folks. The college basketball season ended 6 weeks ago. 6 weeks. She went from playing in the national championship game on Sunday to being drafted on Tuesday and then going to Indiana on Wednesday. She didn't get the prep time needed. So I will expect Caitlin Clark to be better as the season goes along. I think the coaching staff has to do a better job than they did in game one. Caitlin Clark needs to get the ball on the move. Run her off of a ton of screens and get her shots. She will throw the ball around the gym because her usage rate is the same that it was at Iowa. But she will bring it, folks. If you're looking at props for Caitlin Clark, I would be looking at, she only had 3 assists, I would be looking at the assist mark. That is where I think Caitlin Clark is going to make her money because of the fact that the pick and roll with Aaliyah Boston, they're going to step up and take it away. And then Caitlin Clark's got really good court vision. It's just the game is too fast for her because she's not ready for it. She will get better. Caitlin Clark is going to be a star in this league, and she's going to carry the mantle. You just saw it in the news today that the Atlanta Dream are moving their 2 home games to where the Hawks play because of the amount of people that are going to buy tickets. You've seen the Las Vegas Aces move it. Listen, folks, I'm not going to lie. They're playing the Liberty, I think, on Saturday. I looked for my tickets for my kids. I can't pay $150 to sit in the top row of the Barclays Center. Maybe I should. I know my kids will appreciate it. This has been Coach Young. Thank you for listening to today's podcast. For all things sports gambling, please go download that Sports Grid app. Pre-game, in-game, post-game, props, predictions, and more from the very best in the sports gambling industry. And starting tomorrow will be the home of my WNBA scouting reports. Catch them only on the Sports Grid app. For my producer, Matty George, Vinny, who always crushes it with the graphics. This has been Coach Young. Go New York, go. I just said it. It's smarter to be on Sports Grid. Good night.